2025 it's almost over. In fact, 2026 is approaching so quickly, I don't even know where the last 12 months went. And I want you to be honest with me. How did you spend your 2025? Was it avoiding dating, living in shame, lowering your confidence, struggling with a herpes diagnosis? Because if that does sound like your last year, I want to make sure in this video that I give you an exact step-by-step plan to make 2026 the last year you ever have to worry about your diagnosis again. Now, I'm not going to cure you. That's not going to happen, but I can teach you exactly how to live with this virus. Get your confidence back, manage your symptoms, make disclosing and talking about your status effortless, navigate your partner's reactions, whatever they are, and be able to attract a loving partner who likes you for you. Now, the first thing I want to say in this video is that nobody is hopeless and no one is helpless. And that leads into the overarching concept that I want to first get you to think about, which is everyone can have a blank slate right now. Whether you've been diagnosed for 2 hours, 2 months, 2 years, or 25 years like a coaching client of mine has been. We don't need time when it comes to navigating a diagnosis, and oftentimes time is our biggest enemy because the longer we spend going down no path or the wrong path, the longer it takes to go back out that path and go down the right one. And I want to give you the right path in this video. So the first thing to do is completely adopt a blank slate mentality. So I want you to ignore Reddit, stay off of there. I want you to ignore the Facebook support groups, stay off of there. And I want you to ignore and erase, like in Men in Black with the neuralizer thing, any failure you've ever had with your diagnosis. And I want you to start fresh with the right plan, okay? Because what happens often is we believe that we're too far gone, or our brain is always looking at the worst case scenario online and thinking that could never be me, I could never do this. And I'll be honest, if I wasn't posting about this online, I wouldn't be posting my successes on the internet. So oftentimes online is the blind leading the blind. It's people who are still stuck in shame, who want others to be stuck in shame, and it's like a crab in the bucket mentality. So the first thing that we're going to do once we have this complete blank slate is I want you to leave a comment down below, literally saying, I have herpes and it's okay. And if that seems scary right now, we still got some work to do. The first thing we're going to do is learn about the stigma and learn about herpes. So now that you have completely started over, really take a look at yourself and say, what do I have? Okay, I have herpes. I have genital herpes, I have oral herpes, I have type 1, I have type 2. What do I have? How common is this virus? Now, my biggest piece of advice is to lump HSV1 and HSV2 together. They are both HSV. They both should be disclosed. They both can cause symptoms. They both can be transmitted here or there. However, the main issue with the stigma is it being sexually transmitted. So I would look into that. If you haven't read the article, How Herpes Became a Sexual Boogeyman, give that a read. It's going to explain the origin of the stigma. But what I did post-diagnosis was I really asked myself, what is the stigma about? We have oral herpes being so common. So what's the big deal with herpes? We have cold sores and yada, yada, yada. Why isn't there a stigma around that? And I came to realize that the stigma around herpes is just misinformation. It's just like fear-mongering. It's someone on their high horse trying to shame other people for having sex. So much so to where if you sleep with one person and get herpes, there still is this stigma around you must have slept around. But I think that one of the most important things you have to do is to really ask yourself about your story. Does the herpes stigma apply to you? what is the story you're telling yourself about having herpes? Because for me, I slept with 5 people. I had sex 13 times in my life, and I thought, well, damn, this is just bad luck, just bad odds, or just something that could have happened to anybody. And I stopped feeling so stigmatized around the idea of having herpes, apart from it just being genitals and taboos around that. But I don't feel like I made a mistake. I don't feel like I could have lived my life better. And when you really look at the prevalency, when you look at the lack of testing, when you look at the asymptomatic nature of it, or the fact that people are not really even aware of what herpes is or whether they have it or not, you start to undo some of the blame and shame around acquiring this virus. Now, nobody should voluntarily go and get it, and no one should want to get herpes. But I think that the way it's seen nowadays is definitely don't get herpes. It's a big mistake. You have to really, 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 really avoid any situation where you could get it. We have that. And then we have like, herpes doesn't care. The risk is really hard to avoid. So there's this huge resistance between, damn, I should have been a better person and not got this, and ha ha ha, good luck trying to avoid me. And that's why I think that in step number 1 of this video and of my coaching program, getting a full understanding of, damn, it's hard to avoid herpes, can help you reduce some of the shame and blame you have around the acquisition of it. Which is what really helped me and helped my coaching clients, was to see that you didn't make a mistake. You know, if you had multiple partners, there's just a higher chance that you might encounter herpes. It has nothing to do with actually getting herpes. It's, you know, just statistics-wise, and then thinking about whether or not you do feel bad about your lifestyle, because you don't have to feel bad about your lifestyle. If you didn't get herpes, would you have still sort of felt shame around that? And if the answer is yeah, then it's not about herpes. It's about your lifestyle. And if it's no, I wouldn't have felt shame, then that's still the stigma talking to you. Now, the stigma is something called a pendulum, or it's basically just something that we keep alive by feeding energy into it. So people that are ashamed feed their energy into it. People that are shaming others feed energy into it. And oftentimes people say, thanks for dismantling the stigma, or how do you live with the stigma, or how do you get free from the stigma? You don't get free from it. You acknowledge it exists, and you just let it happen. There's waves right here. If I try to control the waves, I'm going to get destroyed. And if I just avoid the waves, I'll never be able to swim. But you can just float in the water. Don't resist. Don't resist the stigma. Don't fight the stigma. Acknowledge it's there. Detach yourself from that, because you don't have to tell yourself all the nasty things you say. I'm gross, I'm dirty, I'm going to be alone forever. Are those things truths? Are they universal truths? Because right now, more people on planet Earth have HSV1 or HSV2 than don't, and they are dating normally. So that already breaks the belief that you can't date with herpes. Everything is possible post-diagnosis, just matters what you think up here. And what you think up here is the most important part next, which is step number 2. Building back your confidence for 2026. So, you still are the same exact person after you get herpes. I know it seems like there's a romantic pre-diagnosis life, and I miss that old self, and you're looking at photos of yourself and you're like, oh, I didn't have herpes there, I didn't have herpes there. But guess what? That fear, that resistance, that apprehension only comes from the idea that your life is somehow going to be worse now. And this may take some delusional optimism, but in my head, I don't think it even is delusional. I think it's just a very grounded and neutral perspective on your diagnosis, and say, whether you were diagnosed in, 2 days ago, 2 years ago or 25 years ago, you are the one deciding how your life is going to be. You can either let your life be ruined by herpes or let it be a catalyst for positive improvement. And I'm not special. When I was diagnosed, I had erectile dysfunction. My life was over. I didn't have any real dating experience at all. And I had little to no self-esteem and confidence trying to build myself up as the person that I am in today's day and age. But there was always some part of me that realized that I can't control getting herpes now, but I can control my life afterwards. And like, why can't life be better post-diagnosis? Can someone date me? Will someone date me? I won't know unless I'll try. And that's the crazy thing too, is I didn't even grow up somewhere where it wasn't stigmatized. I grew up in North America. I would say the stigma's the worst in North America. But I was always curious, you know, can my life be the same, if not better? Can I still find a loving and accepting partner? And the answer is yes. But oftentimes we close ourselves off to that opportunity at the beginning. We say, well, no one's going to date me now, or I can't face putting myself out there. I can't face telling someone. And whatever you tell yourself is going to come true regardless of whether it's good or bad. So I urge you, in step number 2, to get your confidence back, is think about all the things that you still did, all the things you still are, your hobbies, your amazing personality, your sense of humor, your caringness, if that's even a word, caringness, and still do all the things that make you you. One of the things we do post-diagnosis is think no one's going to date us now. I'm going to give up getting a haircut. I'm not going to go to the gym. I'm not going to see my friends. I'm not going to take care of myself. I'm not going to put myself out there. Yada, yada, yada. And we become someone that nobody would date if we didn't have herpes. The flip side is getting to a point where you accept that you have herpes. You accept it because your life can be the same, if not better. So do all the things that make you feel good about yourself. And just like one of my coaching clients has done recently, put yourself back out there. Even if you don't even get to a point of disclosure. By taking yourself out of the dating pool, by reinforcing to yourself that you can't date because of herpes, you'll keep making that normal. So get a little bit of confidence back from becoming your best self or making yourself feel better physically or emotionally. And then go on dating apps. Meet some people. Talk to them. Flirt. You are allowed to flirt even if you have herpes. And if you are really struggling with limiting beliefs or negative self-talk, get a journal. Write down all the things that you tell yourself about having herpes and say, is this a truth? Is it the stigma talking? Is it me? Or am I just observing these thoughts that are coming to me? And should I take them as truth? Now there's a weird concept here where it would be insane to adopt a mindset that doesn't serve you. So what I mean by this is, like, it would be crazy for us to constantly live each day with negative self-talk, with self-deprecation, with defeating language. But we do that all the time. Maybe as a way to protect ourselves, maybe to avoid rejection, our brain says, no, you're worthless, you're not going to date. So in a sense, we have to actually fight our survival instinct to be able to survive and find a partner. So take some time to write down all your beliefs about yourself and question them and ask yourself if they're true and reframe them. You know, it's so easy to think negatively, and it takes actual effort to reframe how we feel about ourselves. And this confidence piece is very important because you should never, ever, ever, ever be concerned about what someone is going to say to you or their reaction to you having herpes. You should never be concerned about that unless you still judge yourself and blame yourself and hate yourself. Because when it comes to things that we can be judged for, it's usually only things that are true. A woman the other day said I had like small legs and a big upper body. And I was like, damn, that's kind of true. I have small calves, genetically speaking. And I kind of felt bad. You want to know why I felt bad? Because I felt she was judging me for something that was true. Now, herpes, not a single soul can use that against me, because me having herpes means nothing. My zodiac sign, my age, even my height, all of these things, I do not have a negative self-talk or story about them. But when we're dating and we still come with a feeling of shame or uncertainty or stigma in our own heads, and someone uses our status against us or says something that's rude or judgmental, we take it personally because we believe it to be true. So the single biggest tip is to make it so herpes means nothing. And that's going to come from realizing you are not your diagnosis. You have all these other things to offer. You are worthy of love. And if someone doesn't see you for that, you aren't missing out. Now, when you feel bad about yourself and someone makes you feel bad about yourself, those things line up as a truth. But when you believe your truth is, I'm worthy of love, I'm a great person, I have all these things to offer, I have a super common viral infection that's typically passed sexually or non-sexually, it doesn't even matter. It only matters in terms of judgment. I don't feel like I should be shamed for this. Then this person who's rude or judgmental is never going to be able to penetrate, that's what she said, penetrate this force field you've built up. So now you've detached from the stigma. No one can use it against you, no more negative self-talk. You've educated yourself for 2026 on reducing transmission, managing symptoms, how to communicate that with partners. And you move into step number 3, which is dating and disclosure. Putting yourself out there, and how do you actually make disclosure effortless in 2026? Well, do you think that both type 1 and type 2 should be disclosed? Yeah? Okay, cool. Do you think that more people have type 1 or type 2 than do not? So, at least 51% of the world? Okay, cool. So now disclosure should be normal. Both should be disclosed. Everyone should be disclosing. Herpes disclosure should be normal. Do you think you should have a mutual conversation about sexual health before being intimate with your partner? For your own safety as well as theirs? Okay, cool. So, disclosure and sexual health talk should be normal. All right? Can someone use herpes against you now? No? Okay, good. If everyone in your town finds out you have herpes, does it really matter? A little bit? All right, still the stigma talking. There's still a little bit of stigma there. But you can get to a point where any rumors simply mean nothing because having herpes simply means nothing. And if it still means something, go back to step 1 and step 2. Get to a place where you have a virus and you had sex to get it. So what? Everyone's pursuing sex, and herpes is incredibly common. Now, when it comes down to disclosure, don't focus so much on when is the perfect time, what do I say. Focus on going on dates in 2026, people you like. Set your standards high. Realize that you can get rejected by someone who isn't even at your standard level. So you might as well try and date whoever you really want to be with. It's like the Jim Carrey quote. What is it? You can fail at doing what you don't love, so you might as well give a shot, give a try at what you do love. So go in and realize that you are still worthy of any partner out there. You're worthy of a partner who sees you for you and sees value in you, even if your standards are still set high. You should even increase your standards post-diagnosis because you're not going to settle for someone who's rude or judgmental. And someone who really likes you for you is not going to see you as less than because you have a virus. So put yourself out there. Build a connection with someone. And when it comes time to disclose your status, or should I say, have the mutual conversation about sexual health before being intimate, you frame it as such. You don't frame it as, please, you got to know this about me. This is a vulnerable confession. I hope you don't see me differently. I hope you still want to date me. It's okay. I wouldn't date me. Because directly disclosing in that way will turn someone away, not because of your status, but because of your energy. Your energy is going to be reciprocated by the person you're talking to. So if you come in insecure and uncomfortable and uneducated, they're not going to feel comfortable. If you meet someone and you basically tell them, hey, Let's talk about sexual health. It's important to me. This is something I have. This is how we can keep safe together. I'm open to hearing any questions from you. But the most important part here about dating, and I want to make this abundantly clear, is that you can't date unless you risk rejection. So you need to actually put yourself out there and risk possibly getting rejected to find acceptance. Now, a lot of people, especially the coaching clients I've worked with, they end up having a lot more success than they think, and a lot more success than I think they'll have, because the fear of rejection is so much more painful and long-term and chronic and like this thing we sit in than actually getting rejected by someone or getting someone not be interested. So you got to get your reps in. You got to put yourself out there. You got to be okay with meeting people and telling them and realizing that there are so many people out there who are waiting to date you and meet you and want to align with you because you still have value. But you can't just tell one person. You got to keep moving on. Don't dwell on that rejection. Move on to the next person. And realize that incompatibility can happen for so many reasons, not just herpes. You don't have to settle for someone who is uncomfortable with you, because you're going to be increasing your standards where you don't deserve that anymore. So in 2026, erase everything you ever knew about herpes. Erase all the struggles and the fears and the apprehensions. Erase all of that and start over from square one. Whether you got diagnosed 2 days ago or 2 years ago, you have the path now. It's a simple 3-step process. Get yourself educated about herpes so you understand it for yourself, prevalency and transmission and confidence, and take that into step 2 and build back who you are as a person. Change your beliefs about yourself. Question everything. Do all the things that are going to make you you, make you feel good about yourself. If not, improve everything you want to improve. Maybe you want to get in shape for 2026. Maybe you want to get a better haircut or a better style, or see your friends, or move to a different country, or change locations or environments. And then reframe disclosure as something normal, a normal conversation, so that when you have a crazy reaction, instead of saying, I knew it, I knew my beliefs were going to be reinforced by this person, you say, that's an interesting reaction. I've never really seen someone react so crazily about herpes. It's incredibly common. You know, you're not even tested on STI panels. So it's like you build this version of yourself from the ground up, instead of literally doing no effort and like trying to throw like spaghetti on a wall. I don't know what it is, but it's like we get stuck post-diagnosis, broken, and we try to have success while we're broken, when in reality you need to go through that simple step-by-step process to become the person where everything is effortless. Now I know it sounds like I just made it so easy, and it is incredibly easy if you do this process. But if you do want some extra help, I'll leave a link down below to learn more about this 3-step process and hop on a clarity call with me, and I'll see if I can help you. 2026 does not have to be a repeat of 2025. You do not have to stay stuck. If there's any part of you that is lacking confidence, or any part of you that is still impacted by a diagnosis, that isn't normal. Now, the norm is to be ashamed. The norm is to be stuck, but not the norm you want to live with. There's not a single day that I wake up every day and I'm worried about disclosure, worried about anything, because I know that some people will date me. My status can't be used against me. I can keep my partners as safe as possible. And it just is something that becomes so easy to talk about the more you talk about it. So let's not let 2026 be a repeat of 2025. If you want some extra help with that, we can get you back to dating confidently in a couple months. I'll leave a link down below. Hop on a call with me. We're going to figure this out. Let's get you back to the life you deserve.